Thank you for joining us on the Nikki Maduro Show. I am Nikki Maduro. She is Kim McAllister. And we are going to talk about all sorts of things, but make sure you hit that subscribe button and that bell to make sure you don't miss a moment of the Nikki Maduro Show. I have to show them off real quickly because they're right here. Because Kim said that I look like a sexy librarian when I was preparing for the show.
Totally does.
Okay, you guys ready? Because I was talking about, and what's funny, and the reason why I'm also doing it is quite the difference to look at my computer without them on, but I can't do the show with them because there's quite the glare or the reflection. So I got these are just readers, people. I don't need them all the time, but I have hit the age.
They are large, but then they're have large. A small face.
I ordered them on Amazon. There was no trying them on. I looked at them. I said 0.75, which is my prescription. And here they are. So
I think you look like a hot for teacher, like, you're going to be a sub. You could take those with you. I think I'm surprised there's not some hanky-panky going on in your house. Like your husband sees those go on and he's like, who's this lady in my house?
I've worn them. So
Good morning.
This is the first time I've worn these black ones too. Because see, Amazon came, so I got black, it was like a multi-set. Like I got 4 of these readers. They're cheap, dudes. I mean, yeah. So I got black, they're light pink, light blue, and I think like kind of a clear. And so I just put them everywhere. I put them next to my bed, in my car, just so I have them. But
it looks like they're part of a hot librarian costume. I think you should play that up.
Maybe I have my Halloween costume for this year, Kim McAllister. So
maybe you have a costume for later this evening.
Maybe I do. All right. Well, there is a great new poll out. Let's get serious, ladies. All right. Let's get serious. That I'm very happy about. It looks at actually how people are voting, but not just anybody. Young voters, because it's important. Look, when we're talking about getting people energized to vote, I think that there's some stereotypes, right? Older voters, not all the time, but they tend to lean conservative just because that's sometimes the way that it happens. Not all the time, especially with some of the issues that we've been facing in this country.
It's so weird because I know a lot of older people and they're so smart and thoughtful and well-read. And they're not Trump voters.
No.
They're not.
They're not Trump voters.
Look at the makeup of our audience here. Yeah. They're not Trump voters.
Exactly. You know? Okay. So, but when we're talking about young voters, right? Like what issues they care about, CBS did this poll. Now, first off, let's just start with who they're going to vote for president. And this is the part that I love, right? So if they're under 30 years old, 61% voting for Joe Biden. 38% are voting for Donald Trump. This is the choice for president of voters under 30 years old. Okay. So that's good because a lot of people were worried that certain issues, depending on whether or not they are happy about student loan forgiveness, whether they're happy about what Biden has done regarding Israel and Hamas, choose an issue, right? That they may not be happy with President Biden over, that they were worried that, even though Joe Biden is a Democrat and younger voters tend to lean more liberal, that maybe he wasn't going to get the votes. But according to the CBS poll, they do. Now, let's look at some of the major factors in the vote for president. And this is broken down by age. So if you're between the ages of 18 and 29, the economy, I think for both, whether you're under 30 or over 30, the economy is one of the top issues. And I think the reason why it's 78% if you're under 30, 83% if you're over. I think the reason that is, Kim, is because dude, when you have to open that wallet, it doesn't matter how old you are, right? I mean, it's just kind of like, but what I find interesting is how the economy impacts you. When you're really, really young, and this is just my opinion, when you're just starting out, right? You're trying to afford rent. The pressure on your budget, yes, is different than when you're older, but when you're on a fixed income, when you don't necessarily have the capacity or capability of increasing your income because you're retired, right? Or nobody's hiring you or fill in the blank. It's a different reason why there's that pressure on your budget, but the pressure is still there. Climate change. This is the one I found pretty interesting as well. If you're under 30, 54% was a major factor in your choice for president, 37% if you were over the age of 30. Race diversity, 52% if you were under 30, 36% if you were over 30. But abortion was pretty, I mean, it seemed pretty even. 57% abortion was the major issue, 50% if you were over 30. And in a little bit we'll talk about it because today is the 2-year anniversary of the Dobbs decision, the overturning of Roe v. Wade, and we'll go and we'll look at a map, a state by state map of
Where do you
all of the abortion laws in the state since the overturning of Roe. What?
where do you stack on when you if you go back to that graph?
Mm-hmm.
Where do you stack what's important to you?
Abortion is one of my top is
Yeah,
pretty much near the top.
I flip it. I flip economy with abortion and climate
Yeah.
change.
Just because, and it's not because I'm not even of the age anymore in which I personally, right, would need an abortion. I mean, I guess, I mean, I no. If I
There's a
got pregnant,
chance.
no, if I got pregnant, I'd be getting a divorce because my husband snipped, right?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I forget you have the vas deferens in a jar
yes,
to prove
exactly,
it.
Exactly,
Oh my
exactly.
God.
So I'm not, but I have daughters. I have sons. I live in a world in which I believe in reproductive freedom. So the fact that there are people in this country trying to insert government into what I believe is a solely personal decision, it is a top issue. It is a place in which I believe that government has zero say, should have zero say, and that's why it's one of my top decisions.
Yeah.
And economy is, yes, a very much a close second, but I also feel like Joe Biden has done a good job of turning this economy around. And anyone who says, oh my God, high prices, go and look, and I say this all the time, at the profits of the companies in which you buy things from. Yeah. Go ahead, see how much profit they made. Go ahead. And then you tell me who's being greedy. You tell me whether or not it's a business decision. Somebody had posted on Facebook about Trader Joe's. It was an old colleague of mine. And they were talking about the shrinkflation, right? I think it was like a sparkling water bottle. And, talking about how many ounces used to be in it and how many ounces are in it now. And they're still paying either the same amount or a little bit more. And then I just kind of Googled, what was Trader Joe's profit? Huge amount of profit. They don't need to do that. But guess what they get to hide behind? This narrative about, oh my God, we need to shrink the amount we're giving you. No, they just want to make more profit. And they get to blame Joe Biden, or they get to blame COVID, or they get to blame whatever. And you guys buy it hook, line, and sinker. And it's a bunch of BS. So I just feel like, yes, we need to continue the work on the economy. We need to put the pressure on it. But companies are starting to learn it. Look, what was it? McDonald's just last week made the announcement they're bringing back the $5 value meal, which shouldn't make headlines. But what is making headlines is people are looking at certain things and being like, I'm not paying for that. You know what I mean? And that's what it's going to come down to, is the consumer looking at the business and saying, you know what? You're not giving me a good deal. I'm not buying what you're selling. Change the price.
You know why I feel like people that's on the top of their list is because it's the thing that day to day maybe people feel the most. People have had to actually change the way they do things. They've, change the things you buy, change how often you buy, change where you buy, right? And so having to make those changes in your daily life, it's felt more.
Yeah,
I feel like it's still not my top issue. I'm willing to make the changes. I'm willing to go to the less expensive place. I'm willing to not go out to dinner. I'm willing to not do these things, to kind of cope with the change in how much things cost. But I can't tolerate the abortion issue. And I can't tolerate not taking steps on climate change. And I can't fathom how we're still dumping plastic into the environment. And so these things for me are more personal issues, I guess.
There was another one, and I apologize, I don't have a picture of it, but according to CBS, they asked this question. They said, compared to previous generations, it's harder to, and this was of registered voters under the age of 30, 82% said buy a home, 76% said raise a family, 70% said get a good job, and 61% said start a business. And I think that, and then, when you compare it to boomers, right? When you compare just the cost of doing those things, I think there's such a disconnect, right? There's a disconnect between just the conversation between older voters and younger voters. When you look at something like, let's just say student loan forgiveness, right? This anger that people have, like, well, you chose to have the loan, you should have done this. but not understanding, well, now I have all of this debt. And the ripple effect of that, I can't buy a house. I can't buy a house that is astronomically more expensive than when you were older voter were trying
Hmm.
to buy a house. And even if I do, pay off the loan, I'm only making a fraction of the wage you were making when you graduated. It's just not apples to apples anymore. And
Yeah.
then you compound that with everything you were just talking about.
Hmm.
The climate change, the instability internationally, right? I was in San Francisco last week. I was doing this interview regarding just nuclear war, right? Comparing things to how much we're on the precipice with AI and the buildup of nuclear weapons in Ukraine and Russia and Iran and China. And it's just like, if I was a younger voter, and we're kind of in the middle of this sandwich generation, but I would be looking around and be like, son of a bitch, boomer, you have no idea what it's going to be like for me when I'm your age.
Hmm.
I don't know what the planet's going to look like. I don't know if a beachfront property is going to be there. And so forgive me if some of these things matter differently to me than you. I'm sorry if, reproductive freedom matters, because I don't know if I want to bring all of these children into the world. I maybe want a little bit of control over something like that. So yeah, it's just a different world, and it's changing very rapidly, Kim. And I don't know if older voters and younger voters even right now see it through the same lens.
Yeah. No, probably not.
You know, there was another question on that CBS poll, and the question was, will you vote even if you don't like the choices? Because that's another thing that I think that
Ooh,
these
that's
two
huge.
candidates need to factor in. And this is what they found. If you're dissatisfied by age, between 18 and 29, 59% said they would definitely vote. Se-
Ah.
79 or
So
71 of 30 to 44, 75 of 45 to 64, and 87 of 65 plus would still vote even if they were dissatisfied.
okay, see, this is the problem. So
Mm,
you have a flip flop in the last graph to this. You have voters that are concerned and younger,
mm-hmm.
but they're working and they're
Mm-hmm.
busy, and
Yep.
motivating them to get to the polls is what could hold us back here.
Yeah.
And then look how many people are going to vote over the age of 65. Maybe they understand better how important their vote is. Maybe they're retired and their things aren't going to get in their way, like work or other, other life issues. I don't know. That I wish we could pump that. We have to motivate younger voters to get out there.
Yeah. But that's always been the case. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Rock the Vote. Remember Rock the Vote on MTV? I'll never
Mhm.
forget this. And I don't mean to point her out, but she's just kind of a good example of what can happen, right? So I remember, and I forget the year it was, but it was when Paris Hilton was just like at the height, right? And the Rock the Vote was happening, and she was one of the faces on MTV. It was really at the forefront. Rock the vote, rock the vote, rock the vote. And then it came out after the election. She never even registered to vote.
Oh
She
God.
never even registered. So there was this huge disconnect, but she epitomized it, right? Of young voters, they'll
Yeah.
share it on their social medias, they'll do all these things, but the basic thing, like, well,
Mhm.
did you register? Did you register in time?
Right.
Here in California, we have that kind of same day registration, all those sorts of things that can kind of help you out because we realize these things.
Mhm.
But at the same time, young people get distracted, young people across the country, that states that have different rules. And when you can kind of light a fire under them to post on social media, that's one thing. But lighting a fire under them to then actually take the necessary steps to actually go to the poll, or even put a friggin' stamp on their mail-in ballot. You need to put a stamp on it? Yeah, you
No,
do, right?
yeah,
Or
you do.
no? You do,
No,
right? Okay.
well, you could drive it down or walk
Right.
it
That's
down to
yeah.
the little area, and where they
I was
have the.
wondering. Yeah, that's what
You
I
just
do. I don't
shove it
know.
in the hole. Yeah.
Just shove.
No,
I
I
always
don't.
drop mine off. I don't know if you put a stamp on it. I've never mailed
I
it.
don't
I've
think you
always
need to
dropped it
put a
off.
stamp on it. I always
Okay,
drop it
I
off
did.
too. I fill it out
I
and
was.
drop it off, but I don't think you need to.
I don't think you need
Um,
to either. Okay.
Speaking of though, one of the issues that was on that list being
Hmm.
racism and diversity, right?
Right.
There was this story that came out a couple days ago. Yeah,
Okay.
race and diversity.
Right.
Did you hear this?
Hmm.
Did you hear this? Like, it's flabbergasting me. I can't.
Okay.
I
Okay.
can't even. The headline on CNN is Trump floats migrant league of fighters in latest dehumanizing rhetoric against migrants.
What?
So he said on Saturday that he had floated the idea of having this migrant league of fighters. He was talking to the UFC president, Dana White. And he said, I said, Dana, I have an idea.
Oh
Why don't you
God.
set up a migrant league of fighters and have your regular league of fighters, and then you have the champion of your league? These are the greatest fighters in the world. The fight of the champion migrants. I think the migrant guys might win. That's how tough they are. He thinks that's a compliment.
But
He wants to round up migrants and have them fight
fight
against what? I don't know, the white guys, the citizens?
the
I don't know.
American, the non-migrant fighters. So is this
He,
supposed to be like some sort of new league he wants to create, like
I
the American
guess.
ones and the migrant ones,
He
and then they
said
could duke it out for what? For entertainment?
he said the UFC president, he said he didn't like that idea too much, but actually, Trump said it's not the worst idea I've ever had. And so after he says that, this is on Saturday, then President Joe Biden's campaign denounced the comments. They say it's fitting that convicted felon Donald Trump spent his
Right.
time at a religious conference threatening to round up Latinos, bragging about ripping away Americans' freedoms, and promising to be even more extreme if he regains power. They say Trump's incoherent, unhinged tirade shows voters in his own words that he's a threat to our freedoms and is too dangerous to be anywhere near the White House.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like Trump is, and again, I'm just going to say, I think he's unraveling a little bit, but that could be my politics showing. I'm being clear with that. I mean, I really do feel Trump's losing it a bit. And a reminder that this Thursday is the debate. And is this the only one we're anticipating, right? I mean, this is the only debate we're really anticipating they're going to do.
I thought there were two.
Oh, is there? I was surprised. I was talking with our good friend Chip Franklin. Chip is of the belief that he doesn't think Trump's even going to debate this Thursday, and I'm like, no, he's going to do it. He's like, no, I think at the last minute he's going to pull out.
Yeah, I've heard that before. He's not
Really?
the only one to think that. A lot of people think he won't even show.
I just feel like if he doesn't show up, especially because he's already agreed to it, they've already agreed to the rules, the whole mic muting thing. I do think it's going to be a little uncomfortable. And, people think, well, because there's no audience. But remember, there wasn't an audience last time because of COVID. So it's not as if, Trump needs, quote unquote, the audience. But again, that's happening Thursday. We'll obviously delve into the S show that I anticipate it being. Okay, what do you think? I mean, if we're just going to look into the future, do you think, okay, agree to 2 presidential debates. So if one's on CNN, is one going to be on Fox? Like, are we like splitting the, you know what I mean? Like, are we giving one to Fox? Because there was one on Fox, I believe. I know there was one. Remember, there was one with Megyn Kelly where he was like,
So the first
very
one
insulting.
is this week, June 27th on CNN.
Right.
The second one is ABC.
Oh,
and that is
interesting.
September 10th. So CNN and ABC.
Okay. Ooh, interesting. Okay. So, I mean, I am actually looking forward to it. Not that I feel like I'm going to learn anything, but I just want to see both of the men's temperament. I want to see how they're going to handle each other. I don't feel like it's going to sway anybody any which way. I really don't. I don't know who is on the fence. I think the one it could really truly hurt. And again, my politics are showing. I only feel like it can only hurt Trump because
Well, say that, who's the lawmaker? Is it Lindsey Graham? No. The lawmaker that had the freezing incident where he stood up.
oh
and
yeah,
he
no,
like,
that was Mitch McConnell.
Mitch McConnell. Thank you.
Yeah.
If President Biden or former President Trump have one of those moments where
Freezes? Yeah.
they freeze up or they look like they're cognitively crazy, or
Yeah.
they have a moment, they have a senior moment, I think that could hurt them.
I
do.
think we also need to remember these are 2 old men debating. I don't know what people respect. Because, like, well, one, Trump thinks that Joe Biden's, I don't know, getting a shot of caffeine or some sort of drug. He wants Joe Biden drug tested because he does too
Why?
well. Because he does too well. He's like, how is he
Oh,
so spry? Because Joe Biden, yes, is old. He's
he is spry.
old. He is old. I'm not
Yeah.
arguing it. He's not. He also has a stutter, which I'm sure at his age takes a little bit more to maintain. He just does.
I
But
think
Trump is a
that's
moron. So that's probably hard in his old age to maintain too.
I think that stutter makes him seem older,
Yes,
right?
probably.
When
Yeah.
it's been something has been going on his whole life and it has
Yeah.
nothing to do with age.
No.
But you look at him and he has trouble speaking sometimes.
Right. So it makes him seem
It
like
makes it
he's
seem like that's age
13.
related,
Yeah.
and it's not age related.
Right.
Physically, and I know they look at the tripping over a cord and they're like, oh, see, look,
Of
he's not stable on his
course.
feet. Wrong, because I could trip over a cord too.
Exactly.
But here's what I couldn't do that I've seen him do. Granted, this was a couple years ago when he was running the last time. I saw President Biden run from backstage, and they had built out this stage, this rally stage or whatever, and it was long, and then it had like this runway with a microphone at the very end of the runway,
Right.
and it was like it took him. Oh, it seems like 2 minutes to make this run. So he runs from backstage. He runs all the way across the stage and runs all the way down the runway and stops at the microphone and speaks. And the dude is not out of breath.
Right.
And I am sorry, I probably would have had to stop like halfway down the runway and be like,
I'm coming. I'm on
coming.
my way.
I'll be right there. And then by the time I got to the microphone, I would be having to catch my breath. I mean, talk about that for an 80-year-old man to make that run and not have that physically impact him. That to me was impressive. And I won't forget, like, I thought, wow.
He rides his bike. He keeps himself
Yeah.
in good shape. He's just an older guy. Like, stop already. And I just love these older people that are so ageist. Like, it's, but whatever. We'll see how it is. We'll discuss it. I don't think but you're right. I think the only thing that can hurt both of those men is most likely going to be something health apparent, right?
Yeah.
Like something to do with that. And, and we'll see. So
Yeah.
that's coming. The debate is on Thursday, and we'll obviously discuss. There's one more fun story, though, I want to end the show with, because this was in your neck of the woods.
Oh.
And this is there's beauty contests, and then there's this contest, and this, of course, is the ugliest dog contest.
The world's ugliest dog
The
contest.
world's ugly, and this is at the Sonoma Marin County Fair, and they have chosen. And this was also a story of always the bridesmaid, never the bride, because this dog apparently came in second a lot and has finally won. Good old Wild Thing. So there's now Wild Thing took home the prize for the 2024 World's Ugliest Dog. It's the fourth time this 8-year-old Pekingese has competed in the contest. He came in second 3 times before clinching the crown. His name, then a 14-year-old pug named Rome was runner-up. They win a trophy and $5,000.
And it's quite the bragging rights to get the title of the world's ugliest dog.
That dog looks stoned, in my opinion.
They always pick a dog, it seems like, that they have the tongue hanging out because they lost their teeth.
Yes,
so the
exactly.
dog likely has no teeth. Usually it's one of those short-haired dogs that looks kind of
Chinese
bald.
crested. The Chinese crested dogs.
Yeah, this one's cuter than most of the ugliest dogs. I have been to that world's ugliest dog contest for KGO to cover it so many times. What they always used to do is they'd say, because it's in Petaluma,
right?
And they'd say, hey, on your way home from Big Story X, could you swing by the fair in your hometown and interview the dog people? Yeah,
Aww.
sure. I know. World's Ugliest Dog time is coming. So they know me down there, but it's a big deal. It's broadcast on Animal Planet. You have all these, major networks down there that are filming, and the whole, it's not an auditorium. It's usually an outdoor under a white tent, but they set up all these chairs and the place is packed, standing room only, and there's
Look
dogs.
At that dog.
Oh my God, the dog. See, they get to be so ugly that they're cute.
I mean, again, do you think the dog started cute and then got ugly, or do you think that it, was never a cute dog?
I think it started cute and got ugly. That's what I think.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it's kind of hard to look
Has
at that
some,
dog.
maybe some health issues, some teeth
It's
rotting
always the
out.
tongue. Yeah, it's always the
Yeah.
tongue. And tongues are long. My mother-in-law has a dog that's I think it's a Yorkie. And he's missing his jaw, no teeth, old ass dog, right?
Yeah.
Cute, like this dog is loved on, but no teeth. And his tongue is so long because it's just hanging out there all the time. Ugh, it's like a lizard a little bit. You're like, ah. When he kisses you, it goes right into your mouth. It's like, oh my goodness. But yeah,
Well,
cute dogs.
they say it's meant to show that, even ugly dogs can be cute and loved and
Exactly. And be adopted.
revered and be adopted,
Exactly.
all of this thing. So it's
Right.
kind of cool. It's funny. Petaluma's got a couple of claims to fame. We're the home of the world's ugliest dog contest.
Yes.
We are the home of the world wrist wrestling championship. Don't know if you knew
Wrist.
that.
Is that the arm wrestling thing?
Yeah, uh-huh.
Yeah, okay.
Wrist
Okay,
wrestling
okay.
championship.
Okay.
And we're the egg basket of the
And
world.
the butter
of
and
course.
eggs festival, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're the sideshow capital of the world. No, I'm just kidding. I have no idea. All right. Well, congratulations to Wild Thing. And, Wild Thing's
Wild
face is going to end up
Thing.
on mug root beer cans.
I
That's
think I
also part of
love
the
you.
award, which is pretty cool. So, and again, go adopt a dog, whether they're cute or ugly, because they all deserve to be adopted. All right. That's our show. We will be back tomorrow. But before we go, guys, please click that thumbs up button, show your support. Make sure you have subscribed and hit that bell because it really helps us out. Also, please support the show, donate to the show. It's the only way we can keep doing this show. If you'd like to donate, go check out our Patreon. You can find it at thenikkimadoroshow.com, thenikkimadoroshow.com. Our Patreon link is there. If you like PayPal as much as we do, go to paypal.com, hit the send button, and then just put in our email address, thenikkimadoroshow@gmail.com. $10 a month is all we ask. Remember that nuts commercial, like a can a week is all we ask. But it's just a month. One monthly donation is all we ask, and it would really, really, really help us out. And then, of course, thank you to everybody that also supports our delicious sponsor, Auntie Tabby's Island Flavor Sauces. Who is that? I saw his picture in there. Who is that?
Yeah, that's Jim Slayton.
Oh, that's Jim. Oh,
Yeah.
Jim.
He got his Auntie Tabby's triple pack
Nice.
over the weekend, and he had
Look at
when
that.
he took this picture, he had yet to sample it. But he
Okay.
said he was going to try it and he was going to let us know what he thought, but he hadn't done it yet. It was just fresh out of the package.
Oh, I
and
love
he
that.
posted this on Facebook. I love it too. I think that's so cool. So we had him, we have Jim, we have Dan.
Dan, yes, he also did it. Exactly.
How cool is that?
And then also, I think, hold on, let me make sure. We have another Jim, and let me make sure I got the picture, and that's what I'm checking right now. Do I have the other picture? Where did it go? Yes, I did. Jim, another Jim listener, was out there with the bag, which is another way that you guys
very
can support
cool.
us. That he was out shopping at Target with the bag. So another Jim has the merch. All of these links, by the way, can be found in the About section of every single show. Just click the more button and you'll see all the links. But the Anti-Tabbies, when you go there, antitabbies.com, use the coupon code NIKKIM, NIKKIM, and you get 10% off every single time you order. And so it helps us out. It helps kids in Jamaica out. So please, pineapple hot sauce, hibiscus hot sauce, guava barbecue sauce. They are so freaking good. I'm telling you, stamp of approval. All right, you guys. Thank you guys to all of our sponsors, and we will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Nikki, you're all so awesome. Miss Brown, like a beautiful blossom. You're all so the best. I really can't rest. You're all so awesome.
Wow. Okay.